On a cold, rain-soaked evening, Detective Ethan Carter stood silently among the gathered mourners as a small, white coffin was slowly lowered into the earth. Beneath the solemn ritual lay a secret, a hidden camera discreetly placed inside the coffin of little Tommy, a boy taken too soon by a mysterious illness. In that heartbreaking moment, Ethan's personal loss drove him to a desperate choice: to risk everything in pursuit of justice and truth. As the droplets mixed with tears on those grieving faces, a deeper story began to emerge, one of ethical dilemmas, the heavy burden of loss, and the unyielding determination to uncover a hidden corruption within the system. This is not merely a tale of one man's fallibility, but a journey that reminds us of the importance of accountability and compassion even when facing unimaginable choices. Welcome to Acts of Kindness Stories. Stay with us as we unravel how one detective's controversial decision sparked a chain of events that challenged the very foundations of justice, while teaching us that every step toward truth, however difficult, can lead to healing and hope. Detective Ethan Carter's decision to install a hidden camera in little Tommy's coffin sent ripples through his soul and the entire investigation. Every night after the somber funeral, he would return to his modest apartment where a grainy night vision feed captured nothing but a silent vigil over a child's final resting place. Yet, on the third night, the stillness was shattered by the unmistakable movement of a shadow near the freshly turned earth. A solitary figure, cloaked in darkness, knelt at Tommy's grave. In that moment, Ethan's heart pounded as he noticed something extraordinary: a small, familiar dinosaur toy placed reverently upon the mound of soil. That toy, a cherished triceratops known to be Tommy's favorite, confirmed what Ethan had long suspected. Someone who knew the child well was visiting, leaving behind poignant tokens of remembrance. Ethan's partner, Detective Rachel Miles, soon joined him in scrutinizing the footage. Though her adherence to procedure was unwavering, she couldn't ignore the compelling evidence unfolding before their eyes. Every subsequent night, the mysterious visitor's pattern grew clearer, arriving at progressively later hours, lingering for longer periods, and on one occasion, even leaving behind a handwritten note carefully tucked near the grave. Each new detail wove an intricate tapestry of grief, guilt, and a desperate need for justice that resonated deeply with both officers. The investigation took an unexpected turn when the trail led them to Mr. Wilson, Tommy's estranged father. Abandoned by his family years before, he had never attended the funeral, yet surveillance revealed him frequently returning to the cemetery under cover of night. His explanation, that a restraining order prevented him from approaching too closely, seemed plausible at first. But as Ethan and Rachel probed further, inconsistencies emerged. Mr. Wilson's intimate knowledge of Tommy's most personal moments and his peculiar timing during these nocturnal visits pointed to a far more tangled web of emotion and hidden secrets than anyone had anticipated. Meanwhile, Ethan's personal demons grew louder with each passing day. The memory of losing his own son to a relentless illness haunted him, fueling a determination that bordered on obsession. His apartment, cluttered with case files and evidence photos, became both a command center and a shrine to his unresolved grief. It was in that clutter that he found the courage to question the ethical boundaries of his methods. He knew that his decision to violate a child's final resting place was controversial, but the possibility of uncovering corruption and halting a series of unsolved crimes provided a powerful counterbalance to his internal conflict. As the nights grew colder, a parallel investigation began to unravel within the department itself. Rumors circulated about a string of unsolved murders involving young women connected to families with children, a pattern that, upon closer inspection, was disturbingly similar to the case of Tommy and his babysitter's tragic end. A new suspect emerged from the shadows: Detective Jacob Mason, an officer with a seemingly impeccable record, whose unexpected involvement at several crime scenes raised alarms. His behavior, his presence at critical moments, and the way he had subtly inserted himself into the investigation hinted at a larger, more insidious conspiracy. In hushed conversations behind closed doors, Ethan and Rachel pieced together fragments of evidence suggesting that Mason's activities might not be entirely independent. Surveillance photos, carefully archived witness statements, And even inexplicable financial transactions began to paint a picture of corruption that extended far beyond isolated incidents. They discovered that Mason had been in clandestine meetings with higher-ups, figures whose names were once associated solely with honor and duty, but whose actions now cast a long shadow over the department's integrity. As Ethan continued to monitor the Graves feed, every flicker on his screen became a symbol of hope and a call to action. Despite the mounting pressure from internal affairs and the risk of exposure, he refused to let the evidence fade into darkness. The camera's silent testimony was a constant reminder that even in the most painful moments of loss, there could be a spark that ignited the truth. The hidden surveillance had revealed not only the tender, secret visits of a grieving father and the lingering memory of a small boy, but also opened a window into the corrupt machinations festering within the institution meant to protect justice. Rachel, ever the steadfast voice of reason, wrestled with the balance between following protocol and pursuing what was right. She argued that no victory was worth sacrificing the dignity of the innocent, yet she couldn't deny that the irregularities in the case demanded an unorthodox approach. Together, they resolved to extend their surveillance, gathering every scrap of evidence that could connect Mason to the unsolved murders and to the broader network of departmental corruption. Their nights were spent meticulously analyzing footage, cross-referencing witness statements, and mapping out the clandestine meetings that linked Mason with influential figures in the city. In the midst of their investigation, a series of trace evidences began to emerge. Forensic labs identified epithelial cells on a piece of clothing from the crime scene, and when these results were cross-checked with personnel files, a chilling match was found. The realization that the killer might be someone within their own ranks sent shockwaves through the investigation, forcing Ethan to confront the painful truth that justice sometimes demanded sacrifices from those sworn to uphold it. Ethan's internal struggle was compounded by the memory of the hidden camera, an object that symbolized both his desperation and his determination. That small device, concealed within the sacred confines of a child's coffin, was now the linchpin of a case that threatened to dismantle a corrupt network within the police department. Every time he replayed the footage, he was reminded of the ethical cost of his actions. Yet, with each replay, the evidence grew stronger, binding him to a course of action that could not be undone. Amid the labyrinth of surveillance images and whispered confessions, a critical breakthrough came unexpectedly. A routine stakeout at the cemetery revealed Mason's altered behavior, no longer the furtive visitor leaving tokens of remembrance, but a man whose actions exuded calculated desperation. His patterns shifted, and his visits became more aggressive. On one fateful night, as Ethan and Rachel observed from a discreet distance, Mason was seen removing a carefully hidden note from Tommy's grave. The note, which contained cryptic references and unsettling imagery, hinted at a deeper connection between the unsolved murders and the very core of their investigation. The discovery forced Ethan to re-examine every piece of evidence with a fresh perspective. The line between protecting the innocent and violating the sanctity of the departed blurred further with each passing hour. Every new lead, every intercepted conversation, and every hushed exchange among fellow officers amplified the realization that the true enemy might be hidden within the very institution they had dedicated their lives to. In that struggle, Ethan's determination hardened. He vowed that Tommy's story, one of loss, love, and a quest for truth, would not be forgotten. Instead, it would serve as a beacon, guiding him and his partner through the darkest corridors of corruption. While the investigation deepened, the pressure mounted from all sides. Internal affairs began scrutinizing every irregularity in the case, and the looming threat of exposure cast a shadow over Ethan's every move. Yet, even as his personal life crumbled under the weight of guilt and remorse, he found solace in the small acts of kindness that punctuated the investigation, a supportive word from a grieving mother, the quiet determination of a partner who refused to compromise on justice, and the unyielding belief that every act, no matter how unorthodox, could eventually lead to the greater good. In this relentless pursuit of truth, Ethan Carter and Detective Rachel Miles wove together a narrative of courage and sacrifice. Their journey, marked by sleepless nights and moral dilemmas, underscored the reality that sometimes the path to justice is fraught with difficult choices. Every piece of evidence they uncovered not only exposed the dark underbelly of corruption, but also reaffirmed the enduring power of integrity, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between those who serve and protect. As the investigation pressed on, the hidden camera in Tommy's coffin continued to broadcast its silent testimony, a constant reminder that even in the depths of sorrow and ethical compromise, there lay a potential for redemption and change. In the aftermath of a harrowing investigation that tested the limits of ethics and the strength of the human spirit, Detective Ethan Carter emerged with a profound lesson: that even the most questionable choices, when fueled by a desire to protect the innocent, can lead to uncovering a greater truth. As the hidden camera, once buried within the sacred confines of little Tommy's coffin, revealed shocking evidence of corruption and betrayal, it also lit a path toward accountability and reform. The courage to face personal demons and the willingness to stand up for justice, despite the heavy cost, transformed a painful ordeal into a catalyst for change. In the wake of the case, the community slowly began to heal. Families who had lost loved ones found a measure of comfort knowing that their grief had spurred an investigation that would lead to real, lasting improvements in the system. The story of Tommy, whose cherished Triceratops toy and quiet, enduring memory spurred a relentless search for truth, became a powerful reminder that every act of integrity can serve as a beacon for others. Through the unwavering determination of Ethan and his dedicated partner, a corrupt network was exposed, paving the way for a more just and compassionate future. This journey shows us that while the pursuit of justice may be fraught with heartache and moral complexity, it is also filled with opportunities for growth, learning, and ultimately redemption. The legacy of those lost, and the sacrifices made along the way, serve as a call to all of us to hold ourselves accountable and strive for a better, kinder world. If this story moved you and inspired you to reflect on the importance of integrity and compassion, we invite you to join the conversation. Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Let's discuss how each of us can contribute to building a more just community. If you found this video engaging and thought-provoking, please give it a like and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to Acts of Kindness Stories. Help us reach 10,000 subscribers so we can continue to bring you stories that educate, inspire, and remind us all that even in the darkest moments, acts of kindness and courage can lead to extraordinary change. Thank you for watching, and remember, every act of compassion creates a ripple effect that can transform lives.